Hello, Wombat, Mikey, Flower Boy, Fish. Obviously, we're just going to let everybody come on in, get settled in. What's up, Gem and Noodle? So, yeah, we'll give it a minute or two. See if old Dollar the Most Likes will be joining us at some point, as planned. Nice to see some threesies, PFPs, as we're in the midst of reveal. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, let me know if any of you would like to pop up and chat while we get ourselves situated here. I like doing these at the worst possible time for everybody. Hello there, my friend. Nice of you to join me.
Hey, what's good?
Oh,
Anyone else drinking Buzz Balls right now, or what's going on? I'm microdosing some Heineken 0.0s. About ready to give a Segway tour of this RV museum in Elkhart, Indiana.
sorry, no, I'm not doing any of those things, but only because I'm in recovery.
Oh, nice, I got you. Well, the Heineken 0.0s could help.
They don't have those here yet. We're just down to the 7.4s.
Oh, nice, hell yeah.
Yeah, we're slow to adapt. Still, Bloomberg. I'm shaking my fist at old Bloomberg.
Yeah, right. Well, where are you at? Are you in?
New York City.
Okay, cool. Hell yeah.
Home of the Rock. No, that's Oakland.
Yeah. What is the deal with NFT NYC this year? Like, I think I'm gonna come out for it, but I don't know anything about it or what it's all about or shit.
Well, if we go by the November version, it's a very poorly run, chaotic mess spread throughout 27 venues, and not one of the venues able to hold more than 7 people.
Sounds great. Sounds perfect, dude.
But people are learning, and I'm sure this, it's going to be a banger because people learn from their mistakes and figure things out. And the guy who runs it is an 11-year-old. Well, he's a precocious 11-year-old. But I think he turned 12 in March, so I think we're going to see some changes.
Oh hell yeah! Well, hopefully, I'm thinking about doing an installation at a Cricket Wireless store out there, like some type of ground beef installation, and we'll see what happens there. But I don't know. It's gonna be sick.
Well, you know what? That might play in the Midwest, but here we've got artists that have been doing such things for years and years and years. So you're not going to get quite the shock value that you'd be used to.
Yeah, maybe if I fed everyone DMT before, that could potentially do it.
Well, because I'm in recovery, I don't know. I've heard a lot of talk of this DMT in the last weeks.
Oh yeah.
What is this? Is this it's a chemical that you put in your body?
Yeah, so it's a molecule that actually our brain produces in some capacity. But they figured out a way to make a molecule that replicates that, and then essentially, yeah, you take it and really it's like I think the comparison, which I haven't done, is similar to ayahuasca. But like essentially, yeah, go off into like essentially another world, but for a relatively short time, but it feels like a long time. It's fairly insane.
Well, I mean, all of that sounds really lovely, but that sounds to me like it's more of a holiday.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that's what I want to do at Thanksgiving.
Yeah, that's true. With the family, yep.
Yeah, exactly. But so normally you haven't been on one of these. Normally, what we do, this is our little glimpse to the public of what we do on a daily basis in the grotto,
Cool.
right? And normally, the grotto hears me for anywhere between like 40 minutes and 90 minutes a day, just monologue, letting people know what's what in the world and my views on everything. And they just sit there quietly and send the occasional GIF into the feed. Normally, when I do these public spaces, it's about 6 hours,
Holy.
and the first 2 hours is just me talking, and my guest just sits there quietly and waits. Then hour three is spent with the guest telling me how wonderful I am and how inspired they are by my art. Then we open it up to questions. Then we quick break for lunch. Then we come back, and then I turn it over to you for 5 minutes to talk about anything you've got going on. Then we wrap it up with another 2 hours. It's basically just me sharing family pictures.
Nice. Oh, it seems to.
But I haven't figured out how to like put video or pictures on a stream yet, like any sort of spaces. So I just show them and I describe the pictures.
Dude, I love it, man. We should send out some of those. Remember those things that you could like put little discs in, and then would have the little rotating like image thing.
The,
You should
yeah,
send that to all Grotto members and include a couple family pics and maybe a couple nudes.
that I actually like that idea. Honestly, if I had the means of production for that, I would love
Dude, that would
that.
be rad, man.
But today I don't have time to do the typical 6 hours. So what I want to do, I just real quick want to run people through where we stand on the grotto, what we've been doing this
Hmm.
week, and it'll actually tie into some things you've been doing, or at least that word on the street is you've
Fuck
been
yeah.
doing. Um, but we, I stumbled across the 8x8 pixel craze last week, which I'm hoping is over by this point. But I came across it late Saturday night. I'm in the middle of revealing the threesies, right, which are my 100 um, hand painted generative, truly hand painted, truly generative um, pieces, all based on the first 7 series that I did, or first 8 series, pardon me. Um, and so we're revealing those. We had our first reveal last night. We have another reveal tonight, and and so I've been finishing all the details on those. It means 20-hour painting days for the last couple of weeks again, um, and and so every once in a while when I'm painting for literally 20 hours, I just gotta fucking get into Twitter and find something that I didn't know about, and I didn't know about the 8x8 stuff, the yeah, somebody called it the 8-bit DAO, which is not what it is. It's the by date AO, I think is how it's pronounced. I think that's how they're calling it, by date AO. Uh, and it's a silly little pixel thing, but I minted without telling anybody, and the Grotto somehow found it, and it sold out, immediately, and then I bookended it with a couple 101s. But I know you have done some because I was tipped off on one. So I got the cigarette and ground beef one, and I know you've got three. But how did you decide to do it?
Oh man, yeah, I was similar. I didn't know what was going on, but I kept seeing it all over the place, and then I made one as like kind of a parody, just like I wanted to see what ground beef looked like in 8-bit, and then I posted it, and actually, I forget, someone reached out to me, and they're like, "Dude, are you gonna mint that shit?" And then essentially, I figured like it would be funny to mint something in 8-bit, but then create this like insane, complex, and like horrific story that paired with the image. So like you're looking at this thing that looks relatively simple and or whatever, and then there's just this like yeah, super fucked up story behind it. So I thought that it was kind of like comical and awesome to pair those two together. So I'm pretty drawn into it actually. Like I get what you're saying. Like it definitely seems like it's a huge trend, but um, yeah, I'm into it. I feel like it's a cool outlet for sure. Like I saw your shit and it was definitely cool, and I feel like it's crazy to have to like distill your entire creative being into something so tiny. So I think it's pretty cool. I think it's pushing a lot of people creatively.
I do too. I mean, here's the thing. I A painting of mine typically takes me on the low end, 6 or 8 hours, and typically 20 hours. Because if I have a really involved painting, it's like 20 hours, and um, the fact that I could, replicate one in 8-bit in like 5 minutes, really, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that because I'm exploring this stuff right now. I did a little drop the week before last to coincide with March Madness basketball, um, and they're low effort pieces, and I call them such, right? And um, it's it's a take on what's going on with the NFT space. I feel, and some specific projects that I'm quoting basically, but I don't know that I feel okay about it because you know I I it's just it's to play with like the trend or to play with the thing that's on right now. I see what you're saying, where it's nice to distill it down and play with it, but quite honestly, that I was able to do it in minutes kind of puts me off of it.
Yeah, I feel you on that. I mean, the one part that I just feel like I love the chaos of this place. I mean, you kind of touched on it there with like the low effort shit, and it's funny. Like, I mean, in some ways, I agree where it's like, yeah, you want to put your best shit out there, but also I love chaos and I love destruction and I love just like bastardizing shit and making stuff that's just completely insane. So like yeah, it's a weird like dichotomy of thinking, I guess, where yeah, on one hand it's you're wanting to put out like the best of the best, and on the other hand, it's just like comical some of the stuff. And most of the shit like I draw and I make, I don't even mint, like that I created a piece yesterday. It was a take on that famous Nighthawks painting, but
Right, I
like it
saw
was
that.
a
Yeah,
bunch of
right.
yeah,
Hmm.
just a bunch of people like beating off at senior frogs, and it's just like yeah, I don't know. I really love and I'm drawn to that type of just like psychotic and depraved art that just doesn't give a fuck. So yeah, I don't know. It's weird. It's definitely a conflict for sure. I feel you on that.
No, and I'm with you. I mean, and that's obviously. I mean, my stuff's a little irreverent, and
For sure. Fuck yeah.
and that's the whole point. I'm into that, and I like playing with that. I think more than anything because I'm a sensitive boy. Um, I I don't like the fact that people like the low effort stuff from me. I'm like, wait, you realize
I
that I work very hard at the other stuff, right?
no, I got you. Yeah, dude, it's funny because yeah, you put something out that you put like 25 hours into and all this insane thought, and then like a piece about somebody like flossing their butt with a piece of ground beef gets like 150 likes or something, or like it's just insane. Yeah, I totally got you. Yeah, you're like, oh man, I would love if that stuff got more, potentially more, I guess, just adoration or whatever. But yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, and it's I make most of my pieces. My typical threesome stuff is meant to destroy eventually, right? It's meant to put you in a position that you're going to have to use it at some point. You're either going to have to sell it because it's gone up so much that you just have to take that money, or you've got to use it because the utility that I've dangled in front of your face is so great that you just can't say no. And so most of the stuff is meant to destroy eventually or whittle down, and and yet I have these low effort animals that I did. I painted 64 animals that I had never painted before or drawn or anything. Two of them I had actually drawn. I'd drawn a dog and I'd drawn a cat, but nothing else. And and I had to do it in one take and had no reference point. That was the rules that I gave myself. And then I timed it and I did it in 2 hours and 17 minutes. I did 64 paintings, and there were some of them are kind of cool, and others are atrocious. I didn't I My take on a skunk is a sin against God and humanity. Uh, but there it was it's a they're called three friends. Okay, kind of like some other friends that rhyme with three, right? And so um, they're three friends, and yet what I'm getting at is the collectors are like swearing blood oaths that they will never give them up. ever. And they're part of this March Madness thing where you win cards throughout the tournament, my paintings, but you have to trade back in that piece. You've got to burn whatever this low effort piece that you got, and they're refusing to do it. They paid 5 TES for these low effort pieces, and the stuff that are being offered right now is 70, 80 TES, and they're saying no, they won't do it. And I'm thinking, but these same motherfuckers have constantly burned all of the very hard, high effort stuff that I do,
Right.
and now they're like, no, I love my fucking lemur or whatever the fuck I drew.
That's awesome, dude. Well, I mean, it's like it's pretty cool that like it's funny. I was talking with Jesse Draxler and a couple other people on Saturday of last week, and it was like a similar. Well, I guess it like kind of looping back around, similar sentiment in some ways. Where I don't know, man. It's cool as fuck that collectors have the ability to like really control like what they're collecting and all that shit, what they want to burn, anything like that. Like I find that to be fascinating and a pretty rad part of the process. Like I know that with you and your like in the grotto and stuff, it's like this whole other experience where like you've got this crazy relationship with all these people. So it's pretty fucking rad that we're just living in this crazy ass ecosystem where all of us are making these decisions that are impacting other people or not impacting other people or just like on a day-to-day basis. It just feels pretty fucking cool to be a part of.
No, it really is. I mean, my whole life has led to this last year, and it. I'm finally living in a true reality that is not based at all in reality, but my reality now is threesomes, and I'm living in this world, this universe that I've created and I share with 150 very close friends in the grotto, and 180 who can go fuck themselves because they don't pay attention enough. But the
I'm one of those people, dude.
oh, I know, I
Discord
know.
is brutal. I don't know how you're in there, dude. It gives me panic attacks. It's just like there's so many notifications happening all the time, and there's just like a swarm of shit. Like I can barely keep up with Twitter, so I don't know, man. It's tough. Discord is a tough place. I don't know how you manage that.
You know what? The guys saw yesterday. I had to share my screen because I am a little tech challenged sometimes compared to what I should be given things I've done in my life. But I was doing the reveal. I'm doing a live reveal of these of individual paintings that no one has seen yet, right? And so ended up having to share my phone screen to achieve this on Discord, and the people saw that I have 25,000 unopened Gmails and 1,600 unopened Discord messages, and God knows how many other thousands of unopened notifications that I have in my life. And the grotto was like, "Wow, you really don't pay attention to things," and it's true. I just don't. So yeah, I have Discord, and I'm in a number of Discords of artists that I support, and I will just occasionally try to find a day where I can go in and hang out. But for the most part, I just ignore everything, except my own world. And and the difference being on Twitter, this is where I think I differ from a lot of my peers. I refuse to follow many people on Twitter because if I follow you, I follow you and I turn on notifications. So I follow 169 people on Twitter and I have 169 notifications set. So like if I follow you, I see every fucking thing you do. Um, and
Oh
if it's somebody new that I'm going to follow, I have to unfollow somebody. That's my
yeah,
rule.
yeah,
But
I like that. Yeah, well, it
see
makes
that
sense. Yeah.
to me, people like this whole idea of following all these people, but then you just go and see what they're up to when you want to. Like I
Mm,
don't. I feel like I need to know everything you do at the moment
yeah,
you do it.
yeah, I like that. I mean, just getting slammed with info all the time. Yeah, it's pretty nuts. And like sometimes you feel. Well, I don't know. I guess you find your people, and I would say I do the same. Like I'll go through and look at my followed list sometimes, and just be like, "What the fuck? Who's that person, or what's going on?" And then of course they haven't done shit in years, or like it was like a porn spam bot, or like somebody, whatever. And I do try to clean it up from time to time. But agreed. Like the notification thing though, man. I swear, like even turning on even 169 Twitter notifications, like I would fucking lose it. I feel like because it's just like, yeah, I don't know, man. Notifications stress me out really bad. But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I respect that mentality though for sure.
I feel that for Twitter is how I have to do it. I literally don't pay attention to any others, right? I have everything on. Anybody posts in the grotto, I see it immediately, right? Um, but other than that, like Discord, I don't follow. I don't have my Discord stuff on there unless it's some reason that I'm involved in a project for that exact amount of time. Then I'll turn them on. But but otherwise, I mean, I do night or day, and that's kind of how I built the grotto. I had 0 followers, like no social media whatsoever when I launched, and the idea was I said to people, just come into the grotto, and I would literally didn't sleep for 6 months while I just responded to everybody who came in. So if you joined my Discord, you were immediately greeted not by a bot saying like hello, you were greeted by
Yeah,
me saying, "Hey, do you have any questions?"
that is
and I,
awesome, dude.
and so I as far as the grotto collectors, I've spoken either on like a voice chat or DM with every single one of them. Like that's if you come in to the grotto, I mean, first of all, you're not allowed into the grotto, right? But when you were allowed into the grotto, if you came in and I greeted you and you didn't talk to me, I just kicked you out right away because why the fuck are you in there, right?
Right. Just
Uh,
sniffing dirty laundry, man. Well, yeah,
yeah,
it's funny. Yeah, I was similar, like, right, like, so, like, when I was starting out, I was big into, like, the indie lit world, and essentially, I think I had, like, 200 followers or something when this whole shit started, and I don't even it's whatever with the followers, all I really care about the entire time, like, in all seriousness, is just, like, I was getting so fucking bummed out because, like, the amount of years, and I think you're similar from what it sounds like, but the amount of years just literally punching stuff into the goddamn abyss where, it's just like it just sits out there and never gets seen by anybody or even like vaguely reacted to in any way, not even any hatred or vitriol or anything. Like you would prefer that to indifference for people looking at your shit. I would say, like, I would prefer somebody hate my stuff versus being different to it. So, like, I think that kind of existing in that world for so long really molded the way that I make stuff and the way that I just like put shit out on Twitter and stuff because it's just like I don't give a fuck, and I think you're in that same boat too. It's just like,
well,
yeah, this is what I'm doing, and I that's just how it works. Like, yeah.
see, this is where I feel imposter syndrome, right? Because I know that that's the bulk of NFT artists um, that I've known and that I've come to know or follow. Uh, they spent a lot of their lives making content that didn't get them anywhere because they didn't have the outlet for it, right? I I didn't. I mean, I only started painting 3.5 years ago, and coming up on 4 years, I guess. Yeah, in May it'll be 4 years since my first painting. Okay, but I didn't show them to anybody ever. I mean, literally, like a
Mm.
few women that I slept with. Like if we had a really good
What
weekend, I would bust them out and show you.
what was
Uh,
their reaction? Like, what was their reaction? Were they into it or?
well, they were into everything after that weekend. That was why I did it. That's why I waited till the end of the weekend.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, no, that was I was I'm a shy sweet boy, and so I didn't want to be I didn't
Yeah.
want anybody to tell me they were shit. So I just waited until they'd come so hard for so long that they had no no other response but telling me it was the greatest painting they'd ever seen.
Right, right. Hell yeah.
But literally I didn't show them to anybody. There were people like in my family, there were people that I worked with for years who had no idea I painted. And then at the beginning of this year, or of last year rather, as I got into the NFT space for other reasons, I realized, oh, I'm going to be a very famous NFT artist, and so I decided to become one, and I decided to show people my stuff, and then I immediately sold it out and immediately became one. So that I never suffered what everybody else does, and so I'm not sculpted by that. Uh,
Mm,
I mean, I'm very strange in that regard. That
mm.
I literally made this decision that I was going to do this in April of last year, and then I did it.
Yeah, we joined around the same time. I think I was March, but I mean, all in all, I feel like my end goal is to just be a Chum Lee impersonator on Vegas Boulevard. Like that's really all I want in life is to retire and just be a Chum Lee impersonator in Vegas,
In
hanging
all
out.
seriousness, I think that your and my approach to art is very similar. Certainly our sense of humor is, and our and the reasons that we do it and what we what draws us to something, what appeals. I mean, I don't think there's a time that you and I've had a conversation where it wasn't just like, sinking best friends
Yeah.
forever, right? And
Yeah, yeah,
and every month or so, we just decide, one of us decides to shoot the other a silly message, and we just back and forth for 10 minutes, and it's hilarious. And I really think, you know the things that I paint and consider funny, and consider, poignant, and tell a story. And I have this a very overarching narrative to this whole project. But the way that I'm able to get to where what I'm trying to convey is through, a Chumley impersonator on Vegas Boulevard. I mean, it's the same exact thing, right? Like, the absurd is important to me, and with the way it is to you, I think.
yeah,
And so, and I love that we have an outlet for that in ways. I mean, my stuff's, because it's not digital. I really had no shot ever. I mean, you've been putting stuff out there, like you said, like that could never work for me. Like, the only my only path into anybody ever owning one of my artworks was gonna be a gallery system, you know, and I refused to do that. I wasn't going to do that. So,
yeah. Yeah, I was
um,
like, I was because I made, well, I know I made a bunch of physical shit too, and like it was just funny. Like I had to, like looking back, even 4 years ago, essentially, like I funded my this own like gallery, this like piece of shit gallery that was in like an abandoned T-Mobile store or something, and like a bunch of friends came and bought paintings for like $20 a pop, and it was just like one of the best nights of my life. So it's just crazy to look back on that thing and think that, like, yeah, I could have had a bunch of random internet strangers there who have become friends, chilling and drinking, well whiskey with me too. But it's
right,
nuts, man. And I do feel like the absurdist part you're dead on with. And I think that by existing in that absurdist world, it's such a preferred world to a lot of the stuff that you know it's to like sometimes our existence as a whole, like I think that it was funny when we were in like complete lockdown 2 years ago. I wrote this like 80,000 word book in 3 weeks because I was just like so bummed out and depressed that like really that was the only world that I wanted to live in, was this world in which like elections are being decided by glory holes and there's a fuckable Yankee candle and all this crazy shit. But it was like that's the type of stuff that makes me happy, is like the absurdity of life and our existence, and kind of the absurdity of the space itself, in many ways. So I love it, dude. Yeah.
now you're published. How many times have you been published?
Yeah, so I have one. So I have one self-published out that was like I just refused to let anyone touch it. But I think similar to your kind of process and stuff, it was like, no, this thing isn't being sniffed by a fucking editor. It's what I want it. It's what I want it to be. It's an absurdist satire, called An Eye for an Eye and Your Other Eye and the Rest of Your Family. And I wrote it in an alter ego as well. So I developed this alter ego named Mark Baldacci, who is the bastard son of David Baldacci, and wrote this crazy ass action book that was like an ode to dad novels, like shitty beach reads and stuff. But then I have two other ones out now. One called PowerPoint Eulogy, and all of them are with indie presses who are super dope and really chill to work with and stuff. But I have one out called PowerPoint Eulogy, and then Until No Crevice Remained. But the big one that's coming out in May is this one called Sparsely Attended Funerals, which is the one that I was just talking about, that I wrote over the course of like essentially 3 weeks. And it's this fucking massive book. It's almost it's borderline too kind of absurd, and but in many ways depressing to even consume. But thankfully somebody took a shot on it, and they're gonna roll it out there. So I'm excited for people to read it, or I don't know. It's pretty fucked up, but I'm pumped.
That's great. That's great. And how long have you been? And I never do this, except I actually don't know these answers. We don't know any of each other's
No,
backgrounds, right?
no, zero, nothing.
And
Yeah,
so, yeah,
yeah.
I normally, the fucking how long you've been doing this question. I can't believe I just said it. In fact, the fact that Grotto isn't roasting me to death right now is ridiculous. But when do you start digitally painting?
Hmm. That
This is
was
just
like
out of curiosity.
yeah, that was like 7 years ago or something, or 6, 7 or 8 years ago, really. And it was really just like making, yeah, the weird shit. Like you'll sometimes see older pieces by me, like the Bernstein Bears take ketamine, or like just like weird takes on stuff like Simon Cowell, being consumed by Howie Mandel, and he's like a ground beef like effigy and stuff. And those ones I feel like I were always super fun to make because those ones were truly, I think, like you were saying for you, where now I think there is a blend of there's a blend certainly where I'm making it for myself, but also making it for the joy of others to like, you know, to think about or just find whatever they want in the piece. But back then, I think it was purely making it for me in like a very selfish but very enjoyable way. So I don't know if you had that same feeling or I don't
Well, I mean, to a degree, I'm far more selfish than you are, I think. Um,
know.
but so I'm in a different space. You told me the other day that you were like had an interview for a regular gig again. I mean, do you work or do you do this full time?
Yeah, I still work, man. Because my wife's a freelancer, so we don't have insurance unless I like kind of work. So in some ways, I'm just kind of like I'm just kind of toiling away for what is essentially insurance money from our great government. To
This is a theme that I hear a lot, which is
yeah,
my life has been ruined by my wife's inadequacies.
she's great. Let me clarify that she's great, but yeah, it's
Well, she just can't hold a job,
she just
apparently.
can't hold a job. Yeah, exactly. Which
Yeah.
is,
Well,
yeah, that's the thing. Like, I mean,
look, we
she
all we
spent,
all have our cross to bear, and some of them are for different reasons than others. But
yeah,
um, I I'm the opposite. I got rid of all of my responsibilities in life. I
yeah,
I
yeah.
waited I waited patiently until nobody depends on me um, to be able to do anything I want, and that's this being threesomes is all I want, right? So
Mhm, mhm,
so I'm different in that I'm not balancing this other life, and so for me, when it comes to sharing my art and doing all these things, it's more for me. I mean,
mhm,
it's a very selfish act.
mhm,
Now, I balance that with the concept of the project. Okay, so because for me, being threesomes means that I don't care about my children anymore. I don't care about my ex-wives anymore. I haven't cared about my mother since long before I was threesomes. But I don't have any responsibilities to any other people in the world. So to do to for the counterbalance to that with the project, I take care of all of my collectors with the same responsibility and effort that I had for all those shitty people I was related to for so long, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But
Traded him
but
in
I
for people that actually, yeah, traded all the shitty people in for people who are actually cool and matter in some ways.
exactly, no, absolutely, and so it's a part of why I make it so hard to collect me and so difficult to be welcomed into the thing because I got to make sure you're worth my fucking time, right? Um, but at the same time, like I've built a project that in NFT terms is a very 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 lucrative project for the collectors, and there I do have people in my ecosystem who make a living at threesomes, right? Um, and that's just a testament to the old hen days and the Tezos blockchain that allows for sort of micro speculators, if they get into the right project, to make a
Mhm,
living wage, right?
mhm,
Um, and so that's where Indo Grotto comes in, and our Argentinian collectors, and little by little, we're sort of they're learning actually that yes, it's great to make a quick $200, but it might be better to make a life out of this, right? So we're sort of
mhm.
transitioning away from that, but it's always there, and it always will be. Which is why I keep my pricing identical to day one, right? But quite honestly, all of this is centered around the idea that if you're going to tell me that you like my art, which already that makes me think you're pretty cool. If you tell me you like my stuff,
Mhm.
do that and then pay money for it. It's my responsibility to take care of
Yeah,
you. And
yeah. I'm
I
in the yeah.
yeah
Yeah, I essentially just time theft all the time to remedy that. Where it's just like like I hate my job so much, and it's very miserable, and a lot of that manifests in the art itself, where it's just like it's like you're just sitting in some meeting or something, and it's just pure and utter misery. And it's just people droning on about digital waste that's going to eventually be produced and shit out by whoever the fuck is getting it in their inbox or whatever the fuck we're even doing. And then a lot of those feelings of just like of just soul crushing mundanity and like normalcy of just that is definitely fueled my art. But I just have to, yeah, like you I mean, I think similarly, like I think about the people that collect and the cool ass people I've met along the way, and it does feel like a fan, like for sure, like everyone who I've talked to, and like I mean like who fucks with my art or like is just even remotely said anything, everyone is cool as fuck, whoever I DM with. So it's been crazy, dude. Like I think you've had a similar experience where like really I haven't had a ton of people that I've like really truly disliked in the space, which is like pretty rare, I think, for a bunch of random ass internet people.
Oh no, believe me, I'm with you. I have you done any in real life stuff? Because I do a bunch of it where we gather, right? Have you met up with your collectors at all?
No, I haven't. No, I'm gonna be in Venice for Venice Biennale in like 2 weeks, or yeah, 2 weeks or something. So bringing ground beef to fucking Italy yet again. But so hopefully I'll meet some people there. But I haven't met anybody, dude. Like usually I'll hit them up, and like if I have paintings laying around, because like that was the thing, like before all of this shit, I was painting stuff where it was like an inconvenience to our living situation because I was producing so much that like it was becoming like a hoarder situation. So I've got hundreds of paintings laying around that I'll like ship out to them, or like ground beef denim hat or a pair of jinkos with the crotch cut out, or something like that to help build that bond and just let them know that like I fucking appreciate it so much that they're even like out there like collecting and being rad people.
That's awesome. So you're getting rid of your massive inventory by tossing it out to the digital collectors.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I like it's just yeah, because I love painting so much. Like I think there's something lacking. There's something in particular lacking when you create something digital versus physical. And I still love the digital side of things, but you get it. You're a painter. When you're in there slopping and slathering that brush all over the place and just ripping, letting loose, it's just there's something else about it that I feel like you can't really convey, or something that you can't necessarily work out yourself, in digital. Like I think a lot of, painting is working out the shit that's going on in your head, or like, the sadness or the suffering, or whatever it is. And that really reeks, in the paint itself, and all those little micro lines and all the little grooves and crevices. I think people can really feel that shit, or I can when I look at a painting. Like maybe I'm looking too much into it, but I don't know. When I was at I went to the Mocha in New York like it was like 4 or 5 months ago or something. I thought Pollock was honestly like I just thought it was absurd that people loved him so much, and I was just like, dude, it's fucking bullshit. He's splattering shit, whatever. The classic stupid ass take for somebody who I have no art education. I have really never taken an art class, so. But then I get into this room with this big ass Pollock painting, like I'm on the verge of fucking tears, dude. It was so insane and so powerful to be in front of that thing. And maybe people will disagree with it, but man, I felt that dude's torture, man. It was fucking nuts.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. And I mean, the fact of the matter is, you started all of that out by saying that you're going to the Venice Biennale. At the end of it, it doesn't matter what you're saying. You're now a goddamn art expert. So
Right.
yeah, literally, like
Right.
literally.
Fuck yeah.
Um, it you don't be the humble, uneducated, self-made guy. Don't do that. Don't do that. You're going to fucking Venice Biennale.
Yeah, although I had to Google what it was,
I would
I didn't.
expect. I would just that you all you have to say is that you're from fucking French Lick, Indiana, or wherever
Yeah.
you're from. I mean, that's
Yeah. Yeah, South Bend outside of Hammond. Yeah, it's a shithole. But yeah, I no, I got you. And it's funny. Like, I mean, I want to be better about knowing about like art shit. Like I mean, because and that's the other thing. Like in this space, I feel genuinely so appreciative that I can be around all of these crazy ass artists. Like I see some of these people in here, Isolationist Vaughn. fucking Wombat, like all these, like the list goes on. Where I'm around these people who are driving me every fucking day. You know, I look at the shit they're making, and it's growing so fast, and everyone is growing so rapidly, and the evolution is taking place so fast that, like, I don't know, man, it's a new era of art. I think we're gonna go nuclear, dude. Like the amount of fucking shit that people are making, and the pace at which people are expanding and growing is absolutely absurd. I don't know if you feel the same way, but I look at people's shit and how it's evolved over the last 4 months or something. It's like, what the fuck is this? Like, this is crazy.
Yeah, no, there's no question. I mean, but I do have to touch on a point that the only reason that Von Doyle and Isolationist and Wombat are in here is because I've slept with all of them. It has nothing to do with. I mean, please,
Oh,
you gotta
yeah.
understand like who the crowd
Yeah,
is.
yeah. Yeah, very
Um,
true. That's true.
Although we
All
do
right.
have Yana Sturza who's joined us. She's an artist that I have not slept with, uh, but is a tremendous artist. So now we do have some class that just walked in.
Hell
But
yeah.
um, I look as far as this space. I came into it and I tell this story. I mean, when I first arrived in NFTs, I came to build a platform. Like that's what I was going to transition out of my corporate hell into. I wanted to start do a startup platform. Um, Honestly, for artists like you and me and the Huey Crowleys of the world, right, who are sort of being kept off of most socials because of their content, and I wanted to sort of embrace that. That was my original thought. It took me months to realize that I just needed to focus on my stuff, and that my stuff would actually play in it. But as I've done that, I've seen with a different eye, perhaps because of how I came into it. Um, but I've seen this evolution, and just like you pointed out, we can speak to people in this very chat right now that we've watched change their approaches and play with stuff is only possible via the distribution channel of blockchain, and it's fascinating. It's why we have this crazy hyper growth, and it's why you've gone from you know feeling that nobody was ever looking at your stuff to the fucking Venice Biennale, right? It's why I've gone from not telling anybody that I've ever even painted, okay, to buying summer cottages for every one of my fucking collectors next year. It's ridiculous.
Hell yeah. That is awesome, dude. Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
So, I honestly am going to let you go kind of early today. We're going to cut this one a little short. I'm going to sort of wrap up
Yeah.
because I've still got some stuff that I'm working on. But I want to tell real quick to the grotto, and then give them a little news, and then we'll give people a chance to ask any questions if they've got them, which they won't because they're terrified of me. But uh, so we've been doing this March Madness thing. So I painted, 256 one of ones in different low effort approaches. Okay. I made my own pack cubes, animated pack cubes, stop motion animated 3D pack cubes in black and white. I made the low effort V friend, oh, excuse me, three friends animals, and then my very first ever stop motion animal, which is actually the pink ones are a part of a larger piece. They're part of you probably saw the Valentine's pieces that all my collectors send out to everybody, but the pinks are a play off of those. So we're doing those. We're now down. We're following the college basketball tournament, and we are now entering the Final Four. Yesterday we did our prize draw for the Elite Eight. Um, I was to this point. Let's see. It should have been. Just doing a little quick math here. We should have given away about 70, 80 prizes. Okay, they've only claimed about 12 of them because they keep deferring. They don't want to burn their stuff. And they don't want to give it up. But we're now entering into next weekend. So Saturday, the Final Four. There's two games that are played, and the winners of those go on, and the losers then drop into our consolation bracket. But on Sunday, we'll be drawing for Series threes, which are very expensive pieces of mine. And then Monday will be the championship, and then on Tuesday we'll be drawing for Series twos, which are kind of ridiculously priced, and the chance at a one of one. So um, there are some on the secondary market that you can get up there, and you can participate still, but for the most part, people aren't letting them go, and they're out there. But it's going to be interesting. It's really been a project about risk and what people are willing to hold off on with what they think the future might bring for all these pieces, regardless of what what paintings on them or how good the artwork is, and they're playing it very well. And so I just wanted to run through that because I know we've got some people in here that aren't Grotto people that are listening, but it's really been a fun project. And so look for those pieces though, because I think when it's all over, and the tournament is over and there's no more prize aspect to it, that some of them may make it to the secondary market. And I think just from an art project standpoint, I think they're important pieces. And going forward in the threesomes universe, of course, all threesomes have future utility, and so they will come into play. But they may be a good entry point for some of you that haven't really dabbled. Um, they have a different look and feel, obviously, than my normal paintings, um, but they're just as important to the overall narrative that I'm working on. So I wanted to throw that out there and just say that we're almost done with that. And then, of course, tonight and tomorrow we're finishing up the reveal of Threesies, which is turning out to be sort of my opus. That is a remarkable thing to share with everybody. I was really touched last night to share the first 33 paintings with everybody live in the grotto, and it was a very special moment for me to have them ooh and ah and laugh and cheer at each reveal. It was really fun because that's how I felt painting them. So it was really nice to do that. Do you have any drops or any projects coming up in the next week or two?
No, no, I think I have a piece out on Super Rare right now, but it doesn't go up for auction until the night before Biennale starts, and then I might be sneaking a little couple beef bits out on whatever you said it was, bid
I
bidate.
made it up how you pronounce it. It doesn't matter.
Okay,
It literally
I,
does not matter how you pronounce it.
yeah, yeah. So I might sneak another beef bit out there at some point. But yeah, that. But otherwise, man, yeah, I don't know. Like I might, thinking about it, I might mint that Night Frogs piece at some point too on Object or one of the Hick and Nuke mirrors too. But otherwise, yeah, man, just chilling. I appreciate everybody coming in and joining. It was a blast to talk to you, dude. You're obviously fucking hilarious, and yeah, this has been super fun. So I really appreciate you having me on.
No, absolutely. Let's just real quick see if anybody wants to ask any questions. Believe me, they won't. They never fucking do. They love DMing me with the questions afterwards. They're so shy. Anybody want to come up? Otherwise, we're going to close this one out. Oh my God, we've got a bad actor asking to come up. Uh, Bad actor, Beagle, destroyer of economies. Uh, the Go ahead. You're live with Die with the Most Likes, Beagle. You gotta hit the button that says mic is on.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, can you hear me
What's
now?
up? What do you got for us?
Yeah,
Yeah, we got you.
yeah. I
Yeah.
just have a question about the grotto, and I applied about I don't know 2 to 3 weeks ago, and I still haven't gotten my invite. And my first question is, what the fuck? And give me it. That's it. That's it.
Well, okay. To answer your first question, there are only about 290 people on the list ahead of you wanting to come in.
Oh,
So, there's a lot of background check and such. The best way to do it is to write a compelling essay that explains why you should be in there. But it's under review. Don't you worry. I don't know if you've got anybody that wants to vouch for you. Now, if you don't want to wait the process out, you can always buy a swipe to open, which on secondary right now is 333 TES. That's the only way you can get in, or a 2.5 ETH 3Zs. So you can buy your way in because we aren't opposed
no, no.
to autocrats and such. Um, so come on in, take over territory that isn't yours. But otherwise, you got to wait.
All right. Try to buy my way. Thank you for the time and attention. Thank you.
No, of course, appreciate it. And Beagle is famous because he single handedly destroyed the boner dildo
Dude, that
VXP.
wasn't me. I don't know why everyone say that. That really wasn't me. I'm serious. Yeah, the Little J Kings was my account, but I was always open about the extras before the airdrop. Like it's not some sleazy thing as everyone making it sound. Like it's not like I was hiding in the dark and doing this. I was very open. Like, hey guys, how many do I need to register to get 1 million? And I'm just going to just throw it on the community and everything. And they just didn't believe me, despite all the other efforts I put into, pumping the project and being part of it and everything. And I get why they are mad at me. I understand that. I mean, it's not like I didn't anything bad, but I didn't crash it. When I dumped the extras, it was already crashed. But I guess it's easier to blame me.
Beagle, I love it. Don't you worry. Okay, I if I were you, I would embrace it, and I would say, I would become like
Yeah,
this
be
this
careful. I
evil guy.
crash the next
Yeah,
one.
I know it wasn't you. I just think it's a funny story that everybody
Yeah,
thinks
I,
it was
I,
you.
I I intentionally messed with anti-sensitive a little bit, made it sound like I'm a bigger of a deal than I was, but I feel a bit bad about all the hours he was like just doing blockchain sleuthing, trying to find my trace that wasn't there. But that was really a little bit fun for me, but not for everybody else in the project. So I'm a bit sorry about that, but not that much.
No, don't you worry about it. And you know what? Thank you for coming up. And
Yeah, I'm glad to be
I'll
here.
have
Thank
I'll
you.
have my secretary look through
Yeah,
your
thank you. Thank you.
your application and see what we can do.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks a bunch. Okay, anybody else want to come up? Nobody else requested, so I'm probably going to shut it down. Um, Parting words there, die with most likes.
Legalize ground beef.
God, you know what? Look. I come from a woman who, as the Grotto knows, has just amazing tits. But she also ran a meat processing plant for quite a while, and I grew up in the business, as the kids say. So I
Green
know that
world.
we're on the verge of a fucking apocalyptic turn in the meat world. You heard it here first. We may not have any beef by fucking December.
Oh man, it's time to legalize it now then, so that we can just at least consume the rest of it before it's completely dried up.
It's true. It really
I'm
is.
ready. I'm ready to start digging for it, man. Here we go. Let's go.
I've been hoarding for years. Honestly, I've got pressurized tanks off the coast of Taipei
Fuck.
that hold all of my ground beef.
Oh
But
yeah, man. Well, thank you again, dude. Seriously, love it. Love everyone here. It's been a blast. Yeah, thank you all. Appreciate
appreciate it.
it.
Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see everybody live from the ground tonight.
Yeah.
I'll see everybody tomorrow, and then this weekend we'll get sort of some sort of madness going on. But thanks everybody. I will see everyone tonight. Appreciate it.